Hello everyone, I am Jaya Kagda, Assistant Professor of Commerce, Government City College, Nayapur, Hyderabad. Today I am discussing the topic auditing. In auditing, in the last class we have discussed what is auditing, meaning of auditing. So today I start with the topic objectives of auditing. So auditors are basically concerned with verifying whether the accounts exhibit true and fair view of the business. Objectives of auditing depends upon the purpose of his appointment, primary objective and secondary objective. Primary objective of an auditor is an auditor is to respect the owner of his business, expressing his opinion whether accounts exhibit true and fair view the state of affairs of the business. It should be remembered that in case of a company, he reports to the shareholder who are the owners of the company and not the director. Auditor is also concerned with verifying how far the accounting system is successful in correctly recording transaction. Means the accountant is recording the transaction. He had to see whether accounts are prepared in accordance with recognized accounting policies and practices and as per the statutory requirement. Means whatever the accounts are prepared, whether those accounts are prepared with the correct accounting policy, accounting rules and regulations which are followed when the books of accounts are maintained. Secondary objective. Secondary objective is nothing but detection and prevention of errors. Errors are nothing but mistakes committed unintentionally because of ignorance or carelessness. So mistakes are not done by intentionally, they are unintentionally done by the person. Errors are of many types. Error of omission. These are the errors which arises on accounts of transaction into being recorded in the books of accounts, either wholly or partially. If a transaction has been totally omitted, it will not affect trial balance and hence it is more difficult to detect. On the other hand, if the transaction is partially recorded, the trial balance will not agree and hence it can be easily detected. Means sometimes the transactions which are partially recorded, means the transactions are half recorded, that will affect in the trial balance itself. So trial balance won't agree with that. Error of commission. When incorrect entries are made in the books of accounts, either wholly, partially, such errors are known as error of commission. Example, wrong entries, wrong calculations, posting, carry forwards, etc. Such errors can be located while verifying. So these are the errors. Sometimes the calculation is wrong, sometimes entry is wrong, sometimes posting is wrong, sometimes carry forward means brought on balance or carried on balance is wrong. So these can be verified. Compensating error. When two or more mistakes are committed which counterbalance each other, means the both the entries are one debit and wrong entry and one credit wrong entry, they rectify itself. So it's very difficult to rectify the error or find out the error where the error is occurred. So counterbalance each other. Such an error is known as compensating error. Example, if the amount is wrongly debited by rupees 500 less and wrongly credited by rupees 500, such a mistake is known as compensating error. Means one wrong entry of debit, one wrong entry of credit is counterbalancing each other. Error of principle. These are the errors committed by not properly following the accounting principles These arises mainly due to the lack of knowledge of accounting. Example, revenue expenditure may be treated as capital expenditure. As we all know, revenue expenditure is a small expenditure. We cannot treat it as capital expenditure. And capital expenditure is a big expenditure. We cannot consider it as a revenue expenditure. If we do such, it means that is an error of principle. Clerical error. A clerical error is one which arises on account of ignorance, carelessness, negligence. Means the person who is called a clerk or accountant, sometimes because of his or her ignorance or carelessness or negligence, the mistakes arises. Errors are the mistakes committed unintentionally because of ignorance, carelessness on the part of those responsibility for the preparation of accounts. While preparing the books of accounts, these things may happen. As we all are the human beings, sometimes because of the carelessness, these errors may happen. While fraud involves some intentions to gain out of manipulating records. Types of error. Error of omission, error of commission, compensation error, and error of principle. Error of omission. Error of omission generally arises due to the mistake of a clerk. Example, if a transaction has been omitted from being entered in the books of account wholly or partially, like goods sold worth rupees 500 to Mr. Ram was not recorded in the sales book. In Mr. Ram's account, it is complete omission. Means this is the entry which has to occur twice. One in the sales book, other in the Ram's account. But both the sides the entry is not recorded. So that is called complete omission. Next thing, error of commission. When the amount of transaction is incorrectly recorded in books, it is known as error of commission. Example, recording of less or more amount than actual. In general, recording one transaction twice, error of addition or subtraction. So error of commission is nothing but when the amount of transaction is incorrectly recorded in book. It is known as error of commission. Means recording of less or more amount than actual, recording of one transaction twice, or error of addition or subtraction. Compensation error. When two or more error concealed means hidden. The mutual effect from disclosed in trial balance. Example, A's account, which was to be debited for rupees 100, was credited for rupees 100. Compensating error will not affect the trial balance. Means here the accountant or the auditor, they are not in a position, they are unable to detect this error, compensating error, because one effect in the debit and another effect in the credit, they compensate the account. So it will not affect the trial balance also. Such will not be detected easily. It's very difficult to detect such accounts. Hence, their detection requires a complete and exhaustive preparation on the part of an auditor. Error of principle. There are certain definite principles of recording and posting of business transactions in the books of accounts. If something is recorded in violation of these principles, it is called as error of principle. Example, recording a capital expenditure as a revenue expenditure, provision of inadequate or excess depreciation, non-provision of depreciation, under or overvaluation of stock. These are the examples of error of principle. Number one is provision of inadequate or excess depreciation. Whether the expenditure is excess or less depreciation, a non-provisional of depreciation, under and overvaluation of stocks. Fraud. Fraud is nothing but when you cheat someone, that is called a fraud. Fraud is really a false representation or entry which is made always intentionally with some mischievous objective. So fraud is intentionally done by one person is doing to other person. Fraud are fraud of cash, fraud of goods, fraud of assets, misappropriation of amenities, fraud of labor, manipulation of accounts. So fraud can be done in many ways. Sometimes the fraud can be done with the cash, fraud can be done with goods, fraud can be done with assets, misappropriation of amenities. So they are doing wrong things to the things. Fraud of labor, manipulation of account. Sometimes the accounts can be misappropriated, manipulated, showing the wrong accounts to the person. Duties of auditor. So here the auditor is a person who has to perform certain duty where he is not a business person, he is an outsider. By performing such duty, the amount is paid to him. Such amount is known as audit fee. An auditor should check the internal check system in force and examine his working in practice. He should ensure how far the accounting principles have been followed in recording the business transaction. So we have the accounting principle like debit what comes in, credit what goes out, debit all losses and expenses, credit all gains and income. So all these debit the receiver, credit the receiver. So these are the principles. So auditor's responsibility is has to check when accounts are recorded, all these principles are followed or not. He has to see that the accounting have been drawn in conformity with Company Act. We have the Company Act rules and regulations. Whether those Company Act rules and regulations are taken into consideration or not. Finally, he should check that the balance sheet exhibits a true and fair view of the state of affairs. So whatever the balance sheet is exhibited by the accountant, whether that balance sheet is giving true and fair picture or not. Advantages of auditing. Audited accounts are detected as an authentic record of transaction. When the person has checked, verified everything, those records are authentic records. Error and frauds are detected and rectified. Whether any errors and frauds are there in the books of account, they are rectified then and there. It increases the morale of the staff. Means the staff member also feel that everything is now true and fair. The picture which the accounts are exhibiting, they are also on a correct. Thus, it prevents the frauds and errors. Whatever the frauds and errors are there, they are prevented. Means precautions are taken. He is an expert. The auditor may advise on a various matter to his client. Auditor is a person while checking and verifying the books of account. He give advice to the accountant. Means he give advice to the businessman. An auditor act as a trustee of his shareholder. Hence, he safeguard their financial interest. So here, auditor is also called as a trustee because the people are trusting him because he is verifying each and everything of the business. The books of accounts are verified. For that, the shareholder feel he is a trustee to the business. For taxation purpose, auditing of account is a must. In case of any claim is to be made from the insurance company, only audited accounts should be submitted. So here the taxation also, where The tax is supposed to be paid by the business. In that also, they feel that auditing is done, so these accounts are correct. In case of any claim is to be made from the insurance company, the audited account should be submitted. In insurance company, if they want to take any claim, for that also, they require the audited accounts. In case of partnership firm, auditing of account helps in the settlement of claims at the time of retirement, death of a partner. If the accounts are audited by the auditor, that also consider at the time of retirement and death of any partner. Auditor accounts help in managerial decision. So management or the manager takes the decision when the auditor's accounts are verified, where auditor account is verified. They are useful to secure loan at the amalgamation, absorption, reconstruction. So these types of accounts are useful in the amalgamation, absorption, and reconstruction. Auditing safeguard the interest of owners, creditor, investor, and workers. So here, auditing is helping the owners, creditor, investor, and worker. It is useful to take certain financial decision like issuing of shares and payment of dividend. When books of accounts are verified and checked by auditor, they are useful for many purposes, like issuing of shares to the shareholders, payment of dividend is paid to the shareholder. That is useful to all. Scope of auditing. Scope of auditing is increasing with the increase in the complexity of the business. It is said that long-range objective and account audit should be serve as a guide to the management future decision. Today, most of the economic activity are largely conducted through public finance. The auditor has to see whether these larger funds are properly used. The scope of audit encompasses verification of accounts with an intention of giving opinion on its reliability. Hence, it covers the cost audit, management audit, social audit, etc. It should be remembered that an auditor just expressed his opinion on the authenticity of the account. He has no power to take action against anybody. So auditor is as an outsider person, he has to come and he has to perform his duty. That's it. He has no power to take action against anybody. He has to show just the true and fair picture of the business. In this regard, it's said that an auditor is a watchdog, but not a blood wound. Characteristics of auditing. Systematic and scientific procedure, essential documents are integral part. It is done with the help of vouchers, documents, information, and explanation received from the authority. Undertaken by an independent person or body, analytical approach. Systematic and scientific procedure, essential documents are integral part. It is done with the help of vouchers, documents, information, explanation, undertaken by an independent person or a body. Art and science. So auditing is nothing but it is called as art and science. Verification of the result. The auditor has to satisfy himself with the authenticity, compliance. The auditor has to inspect, compare, check, review, scrutinize the voucher, supporting the transaction and examine the correspondence, memorandum of association, article of association in order to establish correctness of books of accounts. Types of audit. According to organizational structure, from practical point of view, Organizational structures are statutory audit, private audit, government audit, internal audit. So in the next class, we'll deal what are these all audits: statutory audit, private audit, government audit, and internal audit. Next class, we will deal with this. Thank you so much.